this keeps recurring to me, and at this moment I feel very strongly. Last year when we were in Philadelphia and we saw the adulation which had been lavished on leaders who didn't deserve it, one of my companions, young woman in the temple, said to me, "I'm so glad that our prophet hasn't taken that trip." And I said, if he had taken it, I wouldn't be on it. Now, I hope that you know what I mean. Some of us, and I think most of us, love him because of the things that he will do for us on the human level, and the fact that he doesn't let us give him diamond rings and cars nor accept our worship. I just felt moved to say that we do appreciate you. He isn't there. That's how much. Well, I took the same trip last summer, and in a way, I think the people back there had something over us. They listened and when something was said, when those tapes were played, and I thought Father Divine was a horrible speaker. I thought he was boring. I thought he didn't have anything to say. Out of all due respect for you children, and I respect you because you're here, and anything that brought you here, fine. But I listened, and it was boring to death. But those people sat, and they even watched that tape recorder or whatever it was that was coming from. And when someone who represented the office of that time came, Mother, which I think we all share her thoughts of her, they watched her and they listened to her. When they would stand out there for an hour waiting for her to come out just to watch her, and she wasn't anything to look at. We can't even be quiet. We can't stop from talking to our neighbor. We can't stop from reading a newspaper. We can't stop from writing in address books. We have to go into the bathroom. We have to have somebody walking up and down the aisle. I'm not saying it's the older people, but, bringing us drinks of water. I don't know. In a way, I almost wish that he had been that way, because maybe then we'd listen. And when things... I know, I'm not saying I would be, but I'm saying the respect that I saw there for nothing, we're not getting for everything. And I think we had a lot to learn about the respect that went on back there that we haven't got here. And I, for one, didn't keep it. So I'm as guilty as anybody else.
Well, I heard both comments. It's a problem. If you win people, initially, the mass of people are not where Professor Roller would be. To have missed Professor Roller would be a great loss, because she's a thinking person. She follows out of commitment of mind, not of guts, but mind. But a great mass of people, even with slightly lesser intellect than Professor Roller, are reached by enthusiasm, the ardor of that kind of, not the worship directed to me, but the ardor of it. A little of it Sunday. It was respect. There wasn't anybody bowing before me, but it caused an enemy to get up and leave. Enemy that would have taken their chances of doing bodily harm. It wasn't connected with the peace mission. We had another enemy here, strangely enough, that was interested in doing something, scouting the field. But that overwhelming zeal scared the liver out of him. He took off. There's a black man seated by Sister Mueller right next to her, and he took off.
Yes, but I feel that too, and I feel it because he's clean shell.
Yeah, right. And I think that what one has to know, you worship lively. You don't seem like a dull sort. No one would ever think you were uninspired. What do you do with these intellectuals who come in who think that they pride themselves so much in not being a follower? Which is really what they pride themselves, is being rebellious. And they want to be anarchistic, and they pride themselves in this. But we've got to find some leverage which we catch those people before they get in here. I would say people be at the doors and scrutinize a little bit more and screen them. For instance, we found a Ukiah. This is my statement. Ought to be, how many people here are greeters? I don't like to just talk greeters, those who greet people at the door. You get their names and you greet them. I think we're going to have to make a stronger movement, build up a stronger organization to meet everyone. Because we run into real trouble here Sunday. We had a priest who was here for no good, and I got him out of here. But it was rough because he was already in. Let's take it automatic. If you see a Ukiah, unless, well, I don't think you can take any unlesses. You should take their address and say, oh, I will be so glad to invite you to a meeting later. This happens to be our confessional meeting. Everyone is. This is the meeting where we have catharsis. And we're home very rare, which is true. So, the minute they say they're from Ukiah, because I've had a certain instruction about that, say, now, give me your name and address and phone number